Greetings everyone. Now today I want to talk about something which can be seen as quite fair and also reasonable. In my recent research I've spoken to many agnostics, atheists as well, based upon this concept of intelligent design and God. And from my research, though there's many points upon this path, it seems that people don't even want to know about this God because of the accusations that are listed against his name, and that all has to do with his character. And that's displayed in subjects like homosexuality, genocide, and even hell. And as sad as it's displayed today, the same way some Christians behave today causes non-Christians to say, this is exactly what your God is like. Now, for those of you who have watched my videos, I'm sure that you've seen the three major points that I've addressed, which is homosexuality, hell, and genocide. Because I've noticed that these three major points are used as examples as to say why God is evil. But from my recent observation and research, I've come to understand that there's another barrier that has not been answered. And that barrier is simply the point of, if God truly exists, why can't I see him? It's quite easy to ask the evolutionists, how can you believe that we came from a big bang when nothing was there to begin with? But in return, we can't see God, so how do we know that he even exists? I even remember this atheist once saying, if I see God coming out of heaven with all his millions and billions of angels, coming down in a powerful Zeus type figure, and coming down to my face and saying, believe me, then I'll believe in God. So the fair question really is, if God is really true, or if he really exists, why not just show himself, just to put all these accusations to rest? Well, from my research and study, I'm going to answer this question, but there's something each of you have to do. Whatever premise that your mindset is based upon right now, you have to at least be able to reason and put it to the side just so that you can understand what I'm going to bring about. Because it's obvious that my answer will not be something based upon what you wanted to hear, because your mindset is already on a wrong premise. In other words, you need to come with a non-biased mindset. For example, I've spoken to many Muslims in the past on the topic of Jesus Christ, whether he is God or not. And based upon the premise of a Muslim's mind, they always ask this question: where in the Bible does it say Jesus said, I am God, worship me?
There is not a single unequivocal statement in the complete Bible where Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, says, I am God, or where he says, worship me.
And because of the premise of their mindset, they are actually asking the wrong question, because Jesus didn't come to proclaim himself as God. According to the Bible, Jesus came to take away the sins of the world. And in order to take away the sins of the world, he had to come down on our level, take on the veil of humanity with all our defects and tendencies towards sin, and overcome sin so that humanity can have the same power to overcome every sin. And because Jesus overcame sin, which is basically overcoming Satan, Christ has set a time when Satan's kingdom will come to a complete end. And so because Muslims have set their mind on the wrong premise, which in turn leads to the wrong question, the beauty of the ministry of Jesus Christ has been completely overlooked because of a wrong mindset. So based upon this understanding, we have to be very careful not to come with a mindset that's already closed, but we must come with a mindset that's already open to understand and also to reason. So how does God explain himself? Like how do we know God exists even though we may not have physically seen him? Well, from my research and study, here's a couple of answers. One of the reasons why we can't see God face to face is because of sin. The Bible expresses that sin in the presence of God is like a consuming fire. It's simply like putting fire to petrol. Petrol just gets devoured by the fire. And because of this, the Bible specifically says that sin has separated us from God, and it also says that it has hid his face from us. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 8 also says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the brightness of his coming. It's out of God's mercy that he has not shown himself, in his full glory, otherwise we'd all be destroyed. And so this is exactly why it is important for us to understand what Christ is doing at this very moment. Now, you may not have heard of this, but right now the work that God is doing in heaven with Jesus Christ is doing the work of what's known as blotting out our sins. Now, if you want more information on this, let me know and I'll send it to you as soon as possible. But there will come a time when we can see God face to face, when this whole work is completed. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Okay, number 2. So another reason why we can't see God face to face yet is based upon the fact that he cares more about our heart than just the physical. You see, when it comes to the true matter of seeing God, God's mindset is way beyond just proving that He exists. He's more concerned about the condition of our human hearts. For example, in the Bible, there were 3 disciples that followed Jesus to what was called the Mount of Transfiguration. What this means is that Jesus was transformed into divinity, you could say, and He was also seen with 2 of the prophets of the Old Testament, Elijah and Moses. As He was with them, the voice of His Father in heaven was heard loud and clear. Now the question is, why is that important? Well, basically the disciples of Jesus was actually there to witness every single bit of that event. From Jesus' transformation to seeing Elijah and Moses, and even hearing the very voice of God. But now, this is the question. Though they were eyewitnesses of these things, did that do anything to the condition of their hearts? No. The one who saw the glory on that mountain was the same man who ended up denying the very man he saw. Not once, not twice, but thrice. Peter. I mean, there's other examples in the Bible like Lucifer, who was changed to Satan based upon his own rebellion. According to Ezekiel chapter 28, he was actually in the very presence of God, but yet he went against Him. So based upon the evidence, God goes way beyond the exterior. He's actually more concerned about the transformation of our hearts, from death and sin to peace and righteousness. And well, to be honest, and you may not agree with me on this one, but even if God's revealed Himself physically, some of you may not even believe. Why? Because even if you saw Him for yourself, like I mentioned before, you have all these false barriers blocking your acceptance of Him. So, I mean, you may visually accept Him, but you will not accept Him as the God of your life. Instead, you may just worship Him out of force. Okay, so the last 2 points that we're going to go through are extremely important because we're going to go into the very depths of understanding God's existence without even having to see Him. And we're going to get some clues from the very one who denied Jesus Christ, and that is Peter. Peter in the Bible actually gives us a very clear formula on how we can understand the existence of God without actually seeing Him. And we're going to see that in part 2. But for now, I want to express the 3 videos that I mentioned before at the start of this video because I know that there has been a lot of misunderstanding. Those 3 topics again are hell, genocide, and homosexuality. So please have a watch of these 3 videos because I'm sure it will answer a lot of questions, because I know there's a lot of errors and a lot of accusations in a false view when it comes towards this and God. But for now, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I'm also going to say, please do not draw your conclusions just yet. Please have patience to wait for part 2. We should go into more detail on these things, okay? Thank you for watching. God bless. Bye for now.
But does the Bible teach that the lost burn forever in hell? If you're an agnostic, you might be thinking, if that's the kind of God you serve, I don't want anything to do with Him. I could never respect or love a God who burns people in hell forever just because they don't love Him in return.